Hello, welcome. Look, I have my act together and I'm posting a YouTube video. And look, I have more background. I know, it's wild. We have officially moved into our new house and into our new space. So I feel a lot more grounded and a lot more able to do more of these YouTubes for you. Hello, I'm Emily. Welcome to my channel. I am a psychic, activator, and historical medium. Talk a lot about books, magic, channeling history, you name it. We talk about it here. I'm really stoked to talk about the things I'm going to be talking about in this video for you today because I think I'm really passionate about it, and I think it's a really fun thing that only very long-time viewers of my content might know anything about, but I haven't ever put these stories together in the capacity that they're going to be put together today. Anyway, today is going to be a psychic story time. Let's just start there. So there's been a lot of draw for me lately to kind of show how real magic can be for people, not because of any sort of I need to validate this for people and make sure people believe in these things. If you believe in it, wonderful. If you don't, that's your journey and I totally respect that. But more so because right now magic is activating for so many people in such a tangible and deep way that it's hard to get validation just in your own head. And I want to offer this video and this story time as a way of being like, hey, this is just one example of how magic has worked in my life and how communicating with these beings that are outside of yourself can work and can actually manifest in really unique and interesting ways that can not only help you, but can help you grow and, help magic become more real in the world for other people around you. You name it. So this story time is going to focus very heavily on my experiences, my spiritual experiences on different islands in Hawaii. Now, before I get into that, I do want to mention a couple things. Currently on my Patreon, for my patrons, they are giving me content ideas for these videos. So if you have something you want me to make a video on and you want to be able to vote on what I make videos on this platform, as well as getting bonus videos, as well as getting monthly card pulls, as well as getting mentorship by me and spiritual activation and monthly calls, you name it. All of that stuff is in the Patreon, and I would love to have you in that space. It's a space that I'm really actively continuing to grow the offering for because I do really like having a community there that is more consistent, and I would love to see you there. Also, if you look at my channel, you'll notice that a lot more lives are getting posted as of late. And what I mean by lives is I have decided to go live on TikTok every week, every Thursday, to hang out with you guys and again build some more community elements there. So if you want to join one of those lives, again, it's on my TikTok. The handle is Liker of Words. Same as my handle here, same as my handle on Instagram. There's only one. No imposters, just Liker of Words. Yeah, so Liker of Words is my handle over there, and I would love to have you in that space. It's a really fun, just really interactive time where I get to just hang out and talk magic and be silly and all the things I enjoy. You know what I mean? And the other thing that I wanted to mention is I have a couple really exciting things going on as of late. So if you're seeing this video around the time that it's actually posted, tickets have gone live for my in-person conference. So me and Crystalline, my business partner, and Rebecca, as in Rebecca the Ghost Guide, have all gotten together and we are hosting a spiritual gathering for responsible exploration. Basically, it was Rebecca's idea, and she came to us and was like, hey, I really want to help people, one, foster community, and two, explore spirituality in a responsible and ethical way and help them to grow their spirituality in a responsible and ethical way. And we were like, yes, please. So we are hosting Sacred Spaces Gathering. It's going to be in Richmond, Virginia, the last weekend of January, so January 26th through 28th of 2024, and we're incredibly excited about it. Not only is it going to be a weekend of just magic and fun and community, but we really tried to make it a very unique growth experience for your spiritual abilities. So a couple different types of tickets, and if you want all of the information and you want to grab your tickets while they're still available, because they are going kind of quick, sacredspacesgathering.com is where you're going to find it. I'll link it down below, but sacredspacesgathering.com. You can go over there and get all of the details. We do have 3 different types of tickets. The first one is a VIP ticket, and that ticket is really awesome because it gives you kind of a bonus day. So it starts on Friday the 26th with a spiritual scavenger hunt around Richmond, Virginia to spiritually activated places in the area, and then a hors d'oeuvres meetup with us and all of our VIPs where we get to just kind of hang out for an hour and compare our experiences during the scavenger hunt, that kind of thing, to really help again again, foster that community. And then on the main day, so Saturday, which is a VIP ticket day and a basic ticket day, basically we start with keynotes throughout the morning. So we have 4 different keynote speeches that day, including mine, where I'm going to be talking about channeled history, and Krista, where they're going to be talking about folk magic. And we're going to do a lot of really cool speaking and understanding to help you kind of reframe spirituality in your own way. And then in that evening, we have a vendor fair and we have activated workshops, which I'm really, really excited about as well. And then VIPs get to stay after that to do a speed reader event. So, you know, speed dating, where you get to like hang out with someone for like 10 minutes and then the buzzer beeps and you move to the next person. That, but with psychic readers, all doing different types of psychic readings. So our VIP ticket holders get to go through that as well. And then on Sunday, we continue with more keynotes, and then we also have a fun panel, and then we're going to end out with a group sound healing, just to make it a really rounded out weekend. So there's so much more information I could go into, but that is just the gist. We would love for you to attend. If you cannot attend in person, we actually also have a digital ticket option. So if you feel more aligned with joining digitally, you can do that for health reasons or for travel reasons or you name it. So that option is available for you as well. So you can view all the keynotes from a digital space. Anyway, we're incredibly excited. The response has already been massively wonderful, and we're so excited to bring this in-person event. It's not particularly large. It's just going to be about a 170 person event or so. So make sure if you want to attend, please grab your ticket as soon as possible before they sell out. Okay, so that's most of my housekeeping. I wanted to say all of those things because obviously that's what sponsors this video. So thank you so much for being here and being on this space. And yeah, let's get into the story time. So these are 2 stories that are kind of one story. And they both build off of the premise that anytime I travel anywhere, if you've seen any of my channeled history content, or just in general, whenever I travel with my family, anytime I travel anywhere, I make sure and make a point that as soon as my feet touch the land, that is not mine, that I am traveling to, I always reach out to whatever deities or guardians or energies are around that land at the time. So it might be some, ancient deities that walked on that land. It might be current spirits that exist there. It doesn't really matter. But basically, as soon as I touch down, I'm like, hey, send out a big kind of loving energy, be like, hello, thank you for letting me be here right now. I'm acknowledging that you're here first, that this is your land, and I'm just trying to honor you in the best way that I can. I will be as respectful as possible. Like, thank you so much, basically, for letting me be here and exist here in this space. And it's super important to me to do this for a couple different reasons. 1, not mine. 2, maybe I'm in a place where the culture has been taken. Again, these stories happen when I've traveled to 2 different islands in Hawaii, and those cultures have been absolutely colonized horrifically. And I always want to be as respectful as possible, not only to the culture, but also to the deities of the culture that are not mine. So I always want to honor that space too, or the spirits of the land that is not mine, but honors that space too. And this is the first little tiny baby step I can do to be like, hello, thank you for letting me be here. Like, I don't want to just be another white colonizing asshole and just tromp all over you. So there's that. Also, I find it really important because it's helping you understand a deeper level of the place that you're in, because you're not talking to the spirits and energy of that place. Whether they respond to you or not, you've reached out that energy to them and you've established a way for that connection to happen. Should you need it?
Should you need us?
Or should they want to communicate? Anything in that capacity. So the first time I traveled to Hawaii ever, I went for my honeymoon / to visit my father-in-law. So my father-in-law lives on the big island of Hawaii. So we figured for our honeymoon, which we had a COVID wedding, so it was going to be about 6 months later, we're like, hey, let's go to Hawaii. Let's go see my husband's dad, and let's kind of have our honeymoon / kind of birthday trip for my husband. So we were just going to go get away, and we have 3 kids. So trips without them that are not associated with work are very, very rare. So it's just going to be the 2 of us. So we land on the big island at Kona, and immediately I do what I said. I reach out and I'm like, hello, like to all the energies around. And the first energy that responds, which is very distinct to me and I was very surprised by, was actually the energy of Pele. Now, I have worked with someone who lives on the Big Island, and she's a very good friend of mine, and she works with Pele quite closely, so I was familiar with Pele's energy, but I never really worked with her myself. And it was right near when the volcano was exploding, so I was just like, wow, thank you for responding, like respectful, sending you love, like thank you so much. I will be as respectful as I can while I am here. Now, I will say that I do think other deities worked with and helped me throughout this story, but she's just the first one that stood out, so I do address her often when I speak to the deities of that particular place, purely because she responded back. So she has decided she wanted to speak to me, and I honor that. I'm in no way trying to leave any other deities out or pray to the incorrect ones or anything in that sort of capacity. However, when something decides to have a relationship with me or to kind of communicate with me, I always try to honor them first because they are the ones who responded back. Beside the point, I say thank you and we kind of go on about our day. And we did most of the trip in relative peace. It was pretty lovely. We visited my father-in-law. And then one day near the end, I think we had like 2 days before we were going to return back, we decided that we were going to go snorkeling. Now, my darling husband was not a big fan of this idea because he's not a big fan of the ocean. Well, he doesn't like swimming in it and like existing in the ocean. I am the exact opposite. Give me more water all of the time. Swimming is my favoriteest thing to do ever.
Tell him to bring out the whole ocean.
And I love doing it. But he was very tentative about snorkeling. I was vibing. I was like, let's go snorkel. So we went to this kind of cove that was right next to our hotel. It was not sandy and lovely by any means. It was very much rocky and wavy and like not very comfortable necessarily, but like the closest we were going to get. And so we're like, well, let's go explore over here. The hotel said that this was a good place. Like, let's go do that. So you had to like climb down on these like rocks and kind of like jump off into the water a little bit. Not a very big drop, like maybe 2 feet off of these rocks, just like plop into the water. So Weston goes first and he goes to shimmy off these rocks into the water and he slips and he like fall skid bumps into the water. And then he like kind of starts snorkeling away. Cause again, freaked out by the ocean, which fair. So I'm kind of giggling, whatever. And I like slide in off the rocks after him much more gracefully, of course. But so we're snorkeling around probably for about 15 minutes, just relaxing, just kind of vibing, looking at the fishies swimming around, in that area. And then he kind of pops his head out of the water and I like see that kind of far away. So I like swim over to him and like pop my head out and like, what's up? And he goes, oh my gosh, I'm bleeding. And he holds up his hand and he's like bleeding down the side of his hand. And I was like, ooh, okay. And so he immediately panic snorkels, like speed style back to the rocks, gets out of the water faster than I could even imagine, hops back on land. I follow him over there. Obviously, he's afraid of sharks, so I understand and acknowledge this. I follow him over there. I get back out. We go back to our hotel room, and he's like significantly bleeding, but just mostly because it was like a saltwater cut, you know, and like water makes, you get what I'm saying. So he gets into the shower immediately, spends some while showering, clearing it out, and then he like doctors it up, and I change out of my snorkel gear and into kind of some comfy clothes for the day, just kind of relaxing on the bed. He comes out. He finally sits down, all dried off, and we're sitting there for a second. He goes, hey, I can't find my wedding ring. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, yeah, I don't know where it is. And I was like, well, when was the last time you saw it? And he was like, well, I took it off last night and left it on like the bedside table, but I swear I put it back on this morning, but it's not on my finger now. And I was like, awesome. Okay. You know where this is going. We all know where this is going, but still awesome. So we spend the next 30-ish minutes tearing apart the room, like floor to ceiling, trying to find his wedding ring. We don't. Big surprise. So I'm like, all right, let's go back and look for it. Now, at this point, both of us pretty much understand that the chances of us finding this ring are basically zero. We were in a very rocky place, almost all covered in lava rock. The sand that was visible was a dark grayish sort of color. It's wavy and it's been over an hour since we were snorkeling. His ring is a small black piece of metal, just like a ring of black metal, with like kind of a little bit of a blue into it. And so both of us at this point are like, there's no way we're finding this. Like we're not going to find this ring. But I get back on my snorkel gear. We go back down there, and I go to the rocks, and lovely, a whole little horde of urchins have moved onto the rocks that we originally jumped in on. So those rocks are basically inaccessible, but I like shimmy around them and like plop into the water. And I'm swimming around, looking, the current's like pushing me. It's wavy, and I'm trying to look kind of close to the rocks where he like initially fell in. I was like, maybe he just like fell off right then. Cause again, when he held his hand up out of the water, no ring, just blood, no ring. So I'm like, maybe it fell off then. That would be the only logical time. Looking around, nothing. Look all over the rocks right there. Don't see anything. I'll go like where the current is kind of pushing. Don't see anything. So it's probably 15 minutes or so. And I like pop my head out of the water. I'm like, babe, like I'm not finding this. I don't know like what you want me to do. And he was like, just look one more time. Cause you know, he's kind of desperate. He doesn't want to get back in the water. His hands all doctored up. And I was like, okay, I'll look one more time. And this is the part where I'm like, okay, I'm going to use my intuition then. And you might think, well, why didn't you use that first? Honestly, I didn't use it first because I was panicking because I was trying to find his wedding ring. And I figured I would just look on my own. But I was like, now it's out of my hands. I need to ask the deities, the spirits, the energies of this land. So I reach out and I go, hey, Pele or any of your sisters or deities that want to help me here. I'm in your space and your land. If it would at all possible, I would really appreciate if you help me find my husband's wedding ring. And that moment, my brain goes blank and silent. Now I'm a neurospicy person. That's not a thing because not only am I neurospicy, but I'm also psychic. So there's like 45 people talking with me all the time. It's very, very noisy up here constantly. My brain goes blank and silent. And this 3-word prayer enters into my head. I know it's a prayer. I don't know why I know it's a prayer, but I know it's a prayer. I do not know what language it's in. I don't know if it's maybe ancient Hawaiian. It does not sound like modern Hawaiian. I did check this with Hawaiian people that are native to the area. Didn't sound like their language in the slightest. Or it could have been potentially like a light language, think language of the gods. It's not something you necessarily learn. It's something you just know. It could have been something like that. I wish I could tell you though, because I don't remember what the words are. Because as soon as I chanted these words, I was told to repeat them a couple different times. And as soon as I chanted those words, they literally like whoosh erased from my head. Like I was not supposed to keep them. They were just an invocation. So I do what I'm told to do very clearly. I chant those words in my head while I'm snorkeling around. And just then I chant them as many times as I'm supposed to. I think it was 3. They wipe out of my head and the current pushes me over to this rock. A rock that I had looked at before. Like, let me be really clear about that. I usually kind of leave that out of the story because it's like a quick telling. I'd already looked at this rock. I'd inspected this rock. It was an important rock in the zone. In this rock, there is a carved out smooth bowl. And in the center of the bowl is a little column of rock. It has been carved totally smooth. It is unlike any of the rock around it. And on that little column of rock, on that little ring dish, is his ring. Set securely on the little column of rock. It was so securely placed on that column of rock that I had to twist it to get it off. It was like twist, release, there's the ring. So I managed to find that. That, in and of itself, talk about some magical, incredible validation for how our communication with deities and the worlds work. That is only the first time that the Hawaiian deities had my back when I was there and something got lost in the water. So I do think it is very water specific. I will say that because, again, I'm a very connected to water being. Water is my happy place. I honor the water a lot. And I think for me, my intuition is stronger there and my communication connection is stronger there. Sometimes I'll even meditate with my feet in a bowl of water or in the shower safely, I promise, or with a bowl of water near me. When I've had other activations happen around in other places around the world, they are usually centered on water in some way. So I know for me, that's a key. I'm not trying to put that onto you though. So if water is not a key for you, if maybe fire is a key for you or land or you know what I mean. But for me, it does tend to be always water-based stuff. So for when that happened, I was like, of course. Water thing. Of course, it's going to be a water thing. And I truly gave thanks. I said thank you immediately to all the deities around, to Pele specifically, because she had already reached out to me just to say like, absolutely thank you, and honored that. And then on the way back from the snorkeling thing back to the hotel room, I picked up as much trash as I could find. And I did that for the rest of the trip as well, because again, trying to give back a little bit because I was so incredibly grateful and thankful. That was trip number 1. I have a very bestest friend who has been my very bestest friend since we were 5 years old. I call her Poe. That's what I'm going to call her for this story. I love her very, very dearly, and our birthdays are exactly 1 week apart. So for our 30th birthdays, we decided we were going to go on a trip to the island of Oahu, but we were staying in Honolulu. And we also had a friend that was living on Oahu at the time. And so we were going to go visit her as well and just, do something for our 30th birthday. So we decided to go do that. We mostly did it because Poe was like really, really wanted to swim with dolphins. She is a water person, like I am a water person. So keep that kind of in mind. So we were staying on the beach at Honolulu, right along that very busy strip there. And I had never been there before. But again, as soon as we touched down, the first thing I did was reach out to the deities of the island, which Pele reached back, but it was a little further out. There was other deities and other entities that were around at the time. So I was immediately like, whoa, thank you. Like, I totally respect you. Like, thank you so much. Glad to be here. Going to honor this space as much as I can. while I'm here, and tried to do so. So on our second day there, we wanted to go swimming and snorkeling out like on the big beach there. I'm so sorry, I forget the name of it, but it's that big beach there that's like right on the strip of Honolulu. It's basically a big beach. It's a really big and popular surfing location. So the way that it's kind of laid out is like there's sand here, and then there's like a surfing location here, and then there's like a wave break wall over here that makes like a calm spot of water for like people to swim in. That's all sandy and lovely on the bottom. Now, when I say it's calm, I don't mean it's not wavy, because it still is, but it's just much calmer than the other side of the wave break wall. We're both, like I said, really incredibly strong swimmers. So we're like, okay, we're going to go like explore on the other side of this wave break wall. So we'll like wade in through like the calm zone and then pop over the wall and go like swim on the other side. She was wearing her snorkel gear, and then she had brought her fins from when she went abalone diving off of the coast of like Mendocino in California. And so her flippers were like, they were gnarly. I'm not going to lie. They're like gnarly and intense, and they're like big flippers, and they're like really heavy duty, and they lock onto your foot really intense and all sorts of stuff. Mine were just normal snorkel flippers. So I'm wearing like my normal snorkel gear, and she has those plus those flippers. And so we get over to the other side of the wall, and we swim around for a little bit, and then the wake kind of starts picking up like really significantly and being kind of to the point where we're like, oh, we're getting a little uncomfortable with this. So we're going to go pop back over the wall. So we watch kind of like let the waves like carry us up onto the wall, and we're sitting there for a second, and then the waves like push us over the other side. Well, in that pushing over the other side of the wave break wall, like back into the calm zone, her flipper falls off. One of her flippers fall off. Now, these are like, one, expensive, but two, like they have sentimental value. Like they're important to her. Her flipper falls off, and on the other, so it falls off on the wavy side of the wall. Like it's over there. We're now on the calm side, and she's like, oh my gosh, I lost my flipper. And I was like, oh no. So we kind of go back over the wall, try to find it. It's pretty impossible. Like there's pretty big waves. There's a lot of like reef-ish sort of energy there, lots of like rock. And there's this wave break wall, and the current is pretty actively pushing everything down the beach. So we try to go on the other side of the wall and kind of swim along the wall to see if maybe it popped up that way. We figured it pretty much got sucked out at this point in time. You know, we checked in like the calm zone pretty extensively. Nothing. Also, it was like ridiculously crowded. Like there were so many people in the water, like way more than I would ever be comfortable with. Ever, and let alone like in water. So it's like there's a lot of people in this water. We're pretty much like, oh man, like I don't know, I don't think we're gonna be able to find it. Like we searched for this easily for 45 minutes. Easily we were searching for it, you know, and putting our energy in for it, and we were getting pretty tired. And I was like, why don't I just let's go back to the beach and let's take off kind of our snorkel gear, or our the remaining one flipper that you have, and I'll take off mine, and we'll just kind of like wait around some more, and maybe it'll come back. And she was like, yeah, I'm really upset about it though. I really would like it back. And I was like, well, why don't you ask for it back from the deities? Like, why don't you ask the ocean and Pele and the gods around us to give you your flipper back? And I know Pele is not the goddess of the ocean. I understand this, but like, again, she made communication. And Poe was like, yeah, okay. And I was like, what I did when I found my husband's wedding ring, was I basically asked for help and, you know, said I would honor her the best that I could, or them the best that I could for the rest of the trip, like to just please help. And so she did. She asked out loud. She's like, will you please help? And I was like, will you please help? So we both kind of beseeched the gods and deities of the area again. And then we went out of the water. So on our way back, we're like going out of the water, and there's a bumblebee. It like is flying along, and it falls into the water right in front of me. Now, I am a sucker for the bumbles. Like I have 5 individual bee tattoos. I love bees. I love them. So immediately I'm like, oh no. And I take off my flipper and I like cup it around the bee, like in my little like foot part, and we carry it out and we like set it on the rock, and I like dry it off and make sure it's like nice in the sun and it's like still buzzing. And so I saved its life, and I was very, very thrilled about this. Gotta save the bees. Anyway, we get back to our spot, take off our snorkel gear, and I was like, well, you want to go back in? She's like, yeah, I guess let's just go back in and stand around. It's fine if I don't find the flipper. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, it's okay. And I was like, it's okay. That's fine. So we go back in the water, and we're standing there and we're talking. And at this point, like, we keep readjusting ourselves because the current keeps pushing us this way. So we keep like walking back this way. And then like the current pushes us and we keep like going back this way. And we're like chest height into the water. And we're like jumping around and playing, and kind of have forgotten the flipper in general. And again, tons of people, so many people around. And then out of nowhere, she goes, and goes under the water and comes back and pulls up the flipper. It had hit her in the shins out of nowhere. And for the amount of things, let me just explain, it still blows my mind. I'm just like, oh, I'm so thankful to those deities because it's such an amazing magical thing to see, to like have happen. But the amount of impossibility with this is wild to me. We had lost the flipper further down the wave wall. So the current, which had been pushing this way, we lost the flipper further down than where we were standing, which means that for some, it would have had to have been, and on the other side of the wall too. So it would have had to have like washed up current and down over the wall and got to her. It didn't hit any of the other people. It went directly to her. It's just wild to me. It went directly to her. And we had been searching for like 45 minutes and playing around for at least 10. Like it had almost been an hour, if not had been an hour of it being in the current. Like the chances are astronomical that this would happen. And it was like a big zone. This is not like a tiny, like it was a big zone with big waves going on. Like there's no other explanation other than the intervention of the deities. And I truly believe that when I saved the bumblebee, they're like, yeah, okay, we'll give you your flipper back. Which I felt was a test. So keep your intuition open for kind of that. And of course, immediately went and picked up as much trash as I saw on the beach for the rest of the time to again say like, thank you so much. But just a really incredibly beautiful experience overall. So anyway, those are my psychic story times for the day. I have so many more like this, not with Hawaii specifically, but I felt it was really important to share these ones because they are such concrete, tangible validation that when you reach out, your intuition is actually, you are perceiving something, something is perceiving you, and having that connection is important and beneficial in all ways. Always be mutually respectful. And of course, please educate yourself on the plight of the people of Hawaii, and do not do tourism when they're not asking you to do tourism. You know, do not infringe upon their land. There's so many horrific things happening to the people of Hawaii, and I just please always be aware of that. I'm not sitting here being like, everyone should travel there and talk to their gods. Like, that is not what I'm saying at all. This is just something to validate, hopefully, your experience of talking with deities. And right now, when there is such a strong increase in spiritual activity happening around us, the more you reach out to the deities of places or the energy of places, of course, with safety, ground shield, protect yourself, the more you're going to get back. And same thing with talking to your guides, the more you're going to get back from them as well. So this is just me encouraging you and hopefully validating like, hey, magic is for sure a real actual thing. You can tap in and use it. And there are beings out there that are truly supporting us, and that we can support in return. So yeah, anyway, thank you so much for being here. This is kind of an out of character, out of norm YouTube video for me, but I still really appreciate it. And getting to share it on this space. If this is the type of video you like, if you want more psychic story times, like please let me know in the comments. Like I am all down to do more psychic story time. Like I have tons of these types of things. So absolutely. And if you do feel aligned and you want to work with me further, again, you can go ahead and check out my Patreon. You can like, comment, subscribe, hit the little notification bell here. It means a lot. It helps it a lot in this world. I really like getting to do long form videos, and I know they aren't always as consistent as I want them to be, but I hope they're still very valuable to you. And you can always book readings with me. I do group readings, and I would love to see you at the conference or one of our group trips very, very soon. We are traveling to Italy in May, which we do still have some space to go channel some history with me in the Colosseum and in the Vatican and in Florence and in Tuscany. Like, let's go eat pasta and talk to deities and gods and ghosts and spirits and people who lived in the ancient past. Like, it's going to be so magical. And also we're going to Japan next August, and we'd love for you to come on that trip as well. We're going to go, again, eat sushi, but this time we're going to go to beautiful ancient Shinto shrines and talk to all of the different energies there, which is really interesting, beautiful, and unique. If you've never done any work with Shintoism and that belief system, it's an incredibly powerful belief system that believes basically there's the spirit of everything all the time. And some spirits are stronger than others, and that's usually where shrine locations, etc., are set up. So we're going to go commune with that. We're going to channel some ancient history in some of the oldest markets of Tokyo, Osaka, and Kyoto. So we would love for you to come on that adventure as well. So if that interests you, I'll put all the information down below also. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. It's so much fun to get to be on here. And just remember, you're magical as fuck. Bye-bye.